Hi, guys. Welcome to the Gig Economy Podcast, episode 171. It's the B-side.
Yeah, B-side.
Today, we have one of the probably most important person in the gig economy as far as like news. I'm actually going to say this live on the stream tonight. Steve is above us, you guys.
He's below us.
I'm a Michigan boy, just like you guys.
I'm just saying, like, honestly, you got the rideshare guy, and then you got Steve, honestly, from Rideshare Rodeo. I mean, that guy, you put out so much content, and, like, we were just looking at all your podcasts. I saw that you scheduled with Sergio for episode 300, which is insane that you're going to have 300 episodes, so congratulations on that. That's just such an accomplishment.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Amazing. So as you know, on the B side, we interview a creator or a gig worker, and Steve informed me a couple weeks ago that I had not had him on in this format. So I'm like, what better to finish out November, because we are lazy and we're taking next week Wednesday off because it's Thanksgiving. And I thought, what a good opportunity to bring Steve on to just to catch up. And then for people to hear, you know, Steve's progress as a gig worker and then as a creator as well. So let's just do the rundown. Tell me about your market, your primary gig, full or part-time, and how long to get started. Just get those
two
basics.
Things. First, though, I've been on your podcast many times. I want people to know that.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
I just made a joke about not being on B-side. And then I also wanted to say that these guys have like the best intro to any podcast. And if you don't think so, you're a chode. Straight up. So if you know, you know.
Whoa.
If you know, you know.
But yeah, so I'm in Denver. I've kind of, I started in 2015 with Rideshare. Obviously, that's all that was around then.
Yep.
And I still have to go back, but honestly believe it was Lyft first. It was pretty close because I onboarded to both pretty quickly, but then I onboarded to Uber. Then I kind of still stuck with Lyft. Then when they started being like Uber, I moved over to that. And then all these other apps started coming in. Food first, and they had no volume. Even here in Denver, I don't know about you guys, but they had no volume when they came around. Nobody was using these until the pandemic, pretty much. But so I knew about them. I wasn't really doing much with that. I was still doing rideshare. Now there's apps for everything. So I do a lot of last mile courier stuff now. I do dispatch. I do drop off. I do freight. I'm active on like 12 apps. My favorite, hands down, is Curri. You guys know that already. And for those that don't, anybody that knows me knows this. Curri's my favorite. It makes, out of the gig work portion of the stuff I do, the app-based gig work, because I also do independent contractor gig work, but the app-based stuff that I do, it makes up probably for sure over 80% of what I make on all the apps.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's not only primary, however, there's a bunch of ones that I'm, like yesterday, I just did 2 back-to-back pair of works.
Okay.
Catering orders are becoming big because DoorDash isn't doing a good job. And so Delivered and Easy Cater and Deliver That and Food Fetched and Fuda and Paraworks and Parapass. And there's so many things where you can make money now. It's just not the giants anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
For the last mile stuff. Sorry, Jesper, real quick. With Curri, are you still using just your personal car, or have you bought?
I still use my personal.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because I know for a time you and Hannibal were talking about like the van stuff, so I didn't know if you had bought like a van. I still
am. It's still something that is definitely all the time ringing in my head.
Yeah. But
I actually know, like, I can't say for the other apps because I'm not as like, I actually know the team at Curri.
Yeah.
All of them now. And so like I know for a fact, I've asked, should I get a cargo van or a Sprinter van? They're like, in any market, you'll do better with those. But of course, that makes sense. But I was like, so that's a good idea. They're like, to be honest with you, it's market to market. And in this market right now in Denver, and not just right now, they were saying like in general, what we really need is pickup trucks with pipe racks.
Oh.
So if you have a pickup truck with a pipe rack, we can keep you busy all day at the highest pay.
Wow.
So I was like,
that's what you're getting.
No, shit, man, maybe I'll just do that.
Can you put a pipe rack on your RAV4?
No, I mean, get a pickup.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding.
You know, I mean, I go snowboarding and stuff too. Like I've had pickups before in the past.
For
So it's
sure.
like, I mean, I didn't know. If I like, again, this is where people need to do research, because you can't just take somebody's opinion and go, hey man, you're doing Curri. If you get a cargo van, you'll do a lot better. Because they might find out, dude, I had a pickup truck in my garage that I just don't use. And I just found out I would have made more money with that.
Yeah. Is Curri somewhat responsive if you said, hey, I'm looking to like make more money on this platform? Would they tell you, like, in the market that you are, that maybe it's a good idea?
If you're active.
If you're
some
active.
some people pull that crap of like, hey, I've been on the waiting list forever. If I get a van or a pickup truck, can I get off? And it's like, no. Even though, to be in all honesty, I won't speak on any market, but honestly, if you did, you might get off, but they'll tell you no.
Of course.
Right.
But yeah, they'll tell you, because if they're short 10 Sprinter vans, they'll tell you we need Sprinter vans in your area.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So are you full time? Am I really hot, Jason?
You're like a 9.
A 9 when I'm shit-faced.
My audio is deep, but thank you. That's very,
no,
very
I feel like you're fine. I feel like you're okay.
I think it's okay now. So, Steve, obviously you're doing all these other things, but are you considering yourself full-time gig worker?
Yeah, I mean, so lately I got to tell you guys, I'm doing mostly scheduled these days, which kind of is funny because we always talk about flex time.
Yeah.
Right.
But it is still flex time, because the night before I'm seeing it. So I'm making it flex to my time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, yep, that works. I can do those. But so for the last 4 months, every 4 out of 5 mornings, Monday through Friday, I do a 5:30 and a 7 a.m. Curri. I schedule one of those every morning.
So you're getting that much work on Curri that you're able to do that.
And then I get another 2 or 3 through the day.
Right.
Hot shots. Yeah.
Dang.
I mean, like last week, I probably saw 40 to 50 plus a day orders.
Dang.
And about how many hours a week do you drive then?
So that's what I'm saying, though. I get up at 5. And so I know, Jason, you've been doing something where you got to get up early too. That's a whole life change for me, because I used to be a bar guy. I used to get home at 5.
Yeah.
I got to get up at 5.
Yeah.
And I'm a single parent.
Yeah.
So it's but I don't mind it. I've acclimated to it. The roads are empty. I mean, I know you guys live in Grand Rapids, semi-big city, but Denver's traffic is just ridiculous these days. So like when I do get out at 5:30, the one nice thing is there's nobody there.
Yeah, you're driving, you're like, this is the life.
I don't have to go, oh, it's 10:30. I got to take this route, because like I can take the fastest route.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is a bonus. I mean, you want to shoot yourself in the face when you wake up when the alarm goes off, but like, yeah.
So, I mean, usually the way I look at it is I am usually done. I'll do the 5:30. I'll do the 7 scheduled, and then Curri sees me out. And the more Curris you do, they love that, and they'll see you out. And so the offers go to everybody, but there can be like a priority order that you only have 8 seconds to respond to, and then it just goes in the general queue.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll get those sometimes, and like as I finish the second one up, and I always look for that, because I always love making a hat trick out of it. I love a third one that backs up to that second, and then I'll usually go home for a couple hours, and around, if I just have the 2, I'll go home for a couple hours, and around 10:30, I'll get another hot shot run, and to be honest, I'm usually done with Curri by about noon, and I've made more than what most gig workers make, who are working 12 hours from like noon to midnight.
So what I don't understand is, are you, when you're booking those at night, I know this isn't a Curri podcast, but I'm just curious now, because I've been seeing a little bit more Grand Rapids, but when you're booking those at night, are they already worth it, or are they surged? I don't understand, because like when I get an initial request for Curri, it's like less than 50 cents a mile.
Well, I mean, that's just probably them. But to be honest, I remember when you weren't getting any in your market.
No, I totally get it.
So here's the thing with Curri. I actually created a customer side profiles because they told me to. Curri told me, why don't you do this? Because I was asking questions where they're like, it'd be easier if you just created a customer account and saw how it works. The customer places an order. Like I need, okay, let's take Sherman-Williams out of the mix, because they actually have a deal with them on how they work.
Okay.
But like your average company that just wants to start doing some work with Curri,
yeah,
you say, I have this to move here, and then they make sure it fits in your car. Curri does.
Okay.
They take the order, they make sure it fits in your car. And then they put the items there, and they'll take any amount that the person puts. But like Curri had, like if Curri knows now what jobs are worth. So if you're a company and you're asking somebody to do $50 worth of work and you put in a $20 bid, they're nice about it, but they respond to you with, we'll put that out there, but we do increments. We need to, if nobody takes it within 5 minutes, we will increment it X amount, and it changes depending on what you put in there for the order.
Yeah.
But we'll increment it up to $50 or 60 or whatever it might be, because they already know what the driver is probably going to take it for.
Yeah, exactly.
The only time the drivers really take the lower ones are when they're new.
Yeah.
And that's the only time. And so so they do onboarding in like once a month for whatever market they might onboard. So there's like a once a month, you'll see a pocket of like 2 or 3 days where like people are taking more on orders.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I mean, other than that though, Curri knows they'll be like, dude, it's almost like a slap. Like, nobody's going to take that. You can go to Roadie or something, but
it's interesting. Roadie, geez. I have missed out on a couple Curries because I was like, I just need one more increase, and I think that's enough, and then somebody takes it. Like it's like I'm one level away from taking it, but I was like, I need just a little bit more, and then someone grabs it. So
and so for you, like, I understand what you're doing, but like Tony, the driven dad, you guys know him.
Oh yeah.
Same thing he was going through when he got onto Curri. He's like, dude, I was like right there and I was going to take it. And then somebody took it. Same thing you're saying. And I was like, Tony, just start taking it. Get 5 under your belt. Once you have 5 under your belt, you have a driver score. Till you have a driver score, you're missing one section of what determines if you get the load or not.
I don't know how many I have.
Because if you go into Curri and you touch your picture, it'll show your driver score.
Jason likes touching his picture.
So
not my picture. No, I know I have done more than 5.
Maybe not since they started doing them.
Oh no, not since they've started doing them. No.
Yeah, I don't know. But so once you have 5 though, then you have a score out of 5.
Okay.
Like I have a 5-star, and it's awesome because Curri's rating system is done by the customers. It's only, are you on time to the pickup? They don't, because traffic can be a factor. So the drop off is what it is. You do your best. I mean, you gotta be on your way. You can't be like stacking and going out a route. But
right.
But it's based on vehicle size, proximity to the pickup, and then driver score. So if you only have 3 Curris under your belt, you don't have a driver score. So if you were thinking about it like a school grade, you're missing a third of the grade on every one. So you're going to be like the bottom person to get it.
Oh, to get the notification for like if it gets to you, it's already been through a bunch of people. Is that what you're?
No, I'm just saying that like if it's low. See, this is where it kind of sucks for me, but that's why I like that every 5 that you do, it erases. So if you do 1 and get a 1-star, if you do 5 more, that 1-star is gone.
Oh, okay.
It pushes it off that quickly. It's not like out of 100, like DoorDash and others. But once you have 5, then now you have a driver score. So now you're weighing in, and you can wait out better off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right now, I would just grab them.
Okay.
I would get 5 under my belt, even if dude, to be honest, like Tony ended up doing it. Now he's seeing a ton here.
Okay.
Like I do. He's like, I don't see like you do. Now he does because he didn't have a driver score.
Interesting.
But he had to take 5 that he wouldn't have taken.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to
So we actually had a commenter who had some problems. He said he wasn't seeing anything. So maybe he should try by getting.
I know, but he said he's
score.
not seeing anything, but he's seeing 4 offers a day. I mean, that's more than what I see in a week.
Yeah, but he might see them, but he may not take them.
Yeah.
So he needs to take them, right?
Right.
Yeah, I would say that, let me see if I can. So I have a is it the one with the pickup truck and he's in Denver?
Yep.
Wait a minute, bro. I'm in Denver, man.
Pickup truck with a pipe rack in Denver. Rarely see offer some Curri. So
I don't. You know what I would do? I would email reactivation@curri.com, because here's another thing. If you don't do a Curri for 90 days, you are soft deactivated. You're not deactivated, but you have to email them and say, no, I'm still interested. And they're like, okay. And they push a button and you're reactivated within a minute.
They
But
don't
because
tell you
here's
that,
why,
though.
because they're smarter than the other companies. Why send out data to everybody if somebody hasn't taken one in 3 months?
I mean, I guess, but they should also want to have, no matter what, this, I want this taken, so they should send it out to everybody.
Well,
that's in my opinion.
Well, they do, but it becomes a cost, and the more cost that they can, even the little things that they can bring down, mean, and they actually do apply that back to the drivers.
Yeah.
So again, this is where other apps fail. If you keep doing that, you know what I mean? You're just gonna. What'll end up happening is what we see on every app: the pay goes down,
right?
Because they're wasting money. It's like the cost of running a business. You got to bring them down.
Yeah.
Well, at least maybe that means that they're not interested in just driving down the money for us. So.
Well, also too, they need an accurate. So to be the top shelf. I mean, like, let's compare it, because Jason laughed too, and I always laugh at it. I don't know how you feel, Jesper, about Roadie, but Roadie sucks. Sucks. I mean, just absolute worst. So, like, do you want it to be a roadie or a top shelf? To be a top shelf, they have to accurately know actually who is driving in the market, not who's signed up for the app.
Right.
Because they need to know, dude, if that guy's not driving, let's onboard another one.
Yeah, it's true.
Right.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like, I've said this before to people don't love it. I now way prefer, even if I get on one, of course, at that time I don't like it, but I love wait lists, because wait lists prove to me that the pay will be better.
Yeah.
Because they're actually watching what's going on.
Right. And that's true. The other side of that too is, so how many, so what do you do? 3, maybe 4 a day?
Of Curris? Yeah. I mean, the most I've done in a day is 7.
I mean, it's a very, very different beast than with rideshare, right? Where, when I drive a Saturday, I do 40.
Right. I mean, also, dude, I have a go bag ready though too. I mean, you guys got to remember, I did 2 out of state. Right. I do out of state to Cheyenne, Wyoming, which is only 2 hours sometimes. That's not counted for me, but I did to past Salt Lake. That was 10 hours. I did to Vegas.
Yeah.
So when those orders come through as a hot shot at 4 a.m, 5 a.m, and you see it come and it's like $1,700, and you're like, you got to make that decision right then. Here's my thing with it though. Are you ready? Are you on an instant's notice ready to jump in the car and be gone for 2 days?
I'm not, because I have an electric vehicle and I'd run out of juice.
Right. But I'm saying anybody though.
Yeah.
Right.
Even the people who do gig work every day, are you ready? Like, I have a go bag. My son understands about this. He knows that if a banger comes through, I'm taking it.
A banger. All right, well, let's move on from Curri, because this isn't the Curri podcast. Which
it's kind of fun though.
I mean, I do love Curri. Let's talk a little bit of rideshare. Are you doing any rideshare at all? I'm just curious, because
I'm back on Uber. I'm not back on Lyft.
Okay.
But I'm not doing any yet.
Okay. I just was curious.
I just wanted to and I'll tell you guys, before the next year, I would make sure to, Kim's Side Money Plans always says onboard to every app you can right now. And I always say, dude, onboard slowly. Pick up an app you'd actually do, then onboard. I'm now in Kim's camp till the end of the year. Onboard to everything right now, because in January, everything's going to change.
Yeah. Why?
There's going to be caps. There's going to be fines for the companies if they're oversaturating. The new legislation coming out in different states is going to totally trash things, and they're going to be very slow to onboard people.
Huh. Interesting.
So, I'm happy I'm back on both.
The reason I asked for Uber, because they just came in with a bunch of those new app updates and deactivation things and stuff like that. I was just curious what your opinion on that was.
Oh, for the up, I don't know. I'm gonna be talking to Sergio about that.
Yeah, no, I was just curious.
He actually was with Dara. I was like,
yeah.
And I don't know if you saw that picture, but he has his arm around him and he had his right hand. I actually had to text Sergio and say, did you just have even an instance where you just wanted to throw that punch into his gut?
No, because he doesn't want to. He's not going to answer that. He doesn't want to get kicked out of the club.
He answered it to me. He said no.
Yeah, no. I started watching the Uber event, and then it was 52 minutes. I said, "You're not getting 52 minutes of my time." So then I went to the Rideshare Guys YouTube page and watched the 10-minute one that Sergio put out. So I'm pretty excited about it. I like the new app features. Well, yeah. Well, I heard Sergio kept saying 2024 they were going to start doing the the verifying rider thing, but then I heard Uber say 2025, so I was confused about that. But
Well, and then how quickly is it going to come to our market?
But the other thing too, Jason, I mean, like you've been doing, and Jesper too, you guys have been doing this long enough to know how many times do we see things like this and then they don't happen on the schedule?
Or that
a lot of times it's just for PR.
Yeah, or it only goes to 4 markets and then it dies there and never goes anywhere else. So
Or one market
it wasn't good enough.
Literally just do Boise, Idaho, and make it sound like it's coming out everywhere. But then you go, yeah, we're testing it right now.
Boise, Idaho. There's 6 drivers there.
What made you say Boise, Idaho?
That's hilarious.
It's my favorite city.
So let's jump into the creative end and for new people. Steve and I don't even know how we connected on Twitter. I know that we connected on Twitter when I was big into Twitter, and not so much anymore, but so we connected on Twitter. Then we kind of figured out that you were from Michigan, and then I don't even know how it even went from there. From me saying, "Hey, man, you should start a podcast," and then
I actually do.
Do you know this?
Because you still had the girl.
Samantha.
I can't remember her name.
Samantha.
Is she the only one that's been?
Yeah, Sam. Yeah,
okay.
Yep. Sam.
Okay, yeah, Sam. So you still had Sam, and we were. You were. Jason is awesome about being very audio. Like he's an audiophile or whatever you want to call him. Like
I am for podcasts.
He'll kill you if you have bad audio.
Oh, absolutely.
Every time before you continue, every time I get on a stream to watch yours, there's somebody that has bad audio, and I just want to.
I think I've contracted it from you because now I'm like I'll get so fixated on it. I'm like, damn it.
I know. Like strict instructions before you get on the stream. Like, listen, like just a pair of headphones would be. Let's start baby steps there. But anyways,
but I know that the initial idea was the grind my gears.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I remember that.
And we did like 3 of them, but you were like, dude, your audio sucks. Your lighting sucks. Your sucks, dude.
I was such a hard ass.
The other thing is, we met through Twitter, but you were seeing I was seeing your posts for your stream, which I had seen on YouTube before we ever talked. You were seeing my posts from the website, which has been around since 2017.
Okay.
And you were getting a lot of news that you were talking about from the website.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And so that was like a way that we met too. Like, I'm reading your website. I'm like, I'm watching your podcast. So let's we started talking. We said, let's do this little segment of Grind My Gears.
That's right. Okay. I totally forgot about the Grind My Gears thing. Oh my God.
And for those that don't know, it's a play on, I mean, that we didn't think that thing up. It's a play. We were trying to like redo the Family Guy thing.
And I wonder if they're the original. I swear that's got to be somewhere else. Like no one ever came up with Grind My Gears. Like anyway,
I do think it's theirs.
Yeah,
the way
you think
Peter
so?
Do it like when he's like, really grinds my gears.
Yeah, I know. So funny. So anyway,
but that was
okay. I'm glad you brought that up because I totally forgot about that. I have terrible memory of stuff. I don't even remember how I met Jesper. I'll be honest with you.
I don't know.
Yeah. See. So anyway, so then you were on YouTube or no? I was on YouTube, and then I don't even know how that got started. But anyways, I encouraged Steve to start podcasting. And were you doing YouTube before you started podcasting? So you did it right. You did it right.
Well, I was going to start in January of 2020 audio podcasting, and I had and it wasn't that I didn't want to. YouTube wasn't even on my radar.
Right. And now that's your podcast is amazing too, but like you put so much content and like you're so involved in the community, which some days I'm jealous of because like I get on there and I try to, you know what I mean? I just feel lost a little bit, but it's also you have to really invest in YouTube, honestly, and as a creator and to be part of the community that you're in. But
yeah.
So you started the podcast
but I didn't start it in January. Oddly, I waited until the day I decided to do it was the day after the CARES Act passed in March and the stay-at-home orders happened. I was like, okay, now I'm going to start it, man.
Oh, yeah, you might as well.
I got nothing to do.
Yeah, for sure. You might as well. Yeah, I think a lot of podcasts started during the pandemic.
Right, but I mean, it was like 3 weeks after.
Yeah.
So like it was like the last week of May. So the last week of April.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, Yost?
Mm-hmm.
So like in March, it was March 29th was the CARES Act. March 30th was stay-at-home orders.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was like, okay, I can't go anywhere. So I started kind of thinking about it. And then I even started asking you a bunch of questions before I actually did it.
Yeah.
And you gave me some good advice about, we'll plan, like one of the, just basic tips that I probably wouldn't have thought of, though. Like how often are you going to do it?
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, well, I don't know. I'm just going to do it sometimes. And, hopefully I don't miss weeks. I can tell you to this because you told me don't miss weeks unless you inform people up front, and only rarely, like how you guys are missing because of Thanksgiving. That seems totally reasonable. But I have never, to this day, since you told me to start, I've never missed a Tuesday drop since April 2020.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. I was going to say, the reason I say that is, if you're going to establish a channel, you have to be consistent.
Right.
Once you get consistent, people are like, okay, they're taking time off for vacation. It's like, whatever. But yeah, you're nuts. Like, the amount of content you put out, like, is insane. And I so appreciate that. And I'm sure that your audience does too. So you started the podcast and you started the YouTube channel, and then over time you got that. I
started the podcast. There was a piece missing there, though. I started the podcast. Then I met David Pickerel during some of the PUA stuff. It was it wasn't even connected through gig work. It was about how we were all going to live and stimulus checks and stuff. And that's how we met through an NBC News article. He was in it, I was in it, and we both kind of were quoted as almost word for word. And so I got in touch with David because the writer of the article was somebody who had approached me. So I emailed her and I said, "This guy David, where is he? I'll find him on my own if I have to, but can you help me out?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "I can't tell you his info, but is it okay if I give him yours?"
Oh yeah,
absolutely, sure. And so she sent him mine. He called me the next day.
Okay.
And he was like, "What's up?" And I was like, "We were both in that article." He's like, "Oh, you're that guy." Okay. So then we started doing some things, and he was autonomy.jobs.
No, that's
and
right.
then about 3-4 months later, his partner, Jeff Tang, tripped over, literally stumbled onto tip transparency, which is what Para became known for. And now it has nothing to do with what we do at Para.
Right.
And Para's blowing up now.
Yeah.
But it's nothing to do with that anymore. But he stepped in Trump, fumbled with that. And then all of a sudden, the growth went from like a couple thousand to 248,000 active users in 4 months.
Wow.
That were using it. And so we had a couple cease and desists. David asked me to step into YouTube world and help with some of the bashing of tip transparency. So I was almost going in there like with my bar attitude, my bouncer attitude. I'm like, I'm gonna go knock some of these YouTube people around.
Right.
So I got in there. I started meeting some of the YouTube crowd. I really didn't. And I made a YouTube channel. The first video I made, Jason, was with you.
Oh yeah.
If you go back to my very first, and it's with you, and actually it got like 1,500 views because it was about Para.
Oh.
And you were like, "How the hell did you just make a YouTube channel and get 1,500 views?" And I didn't know anything about it. So I was like, I don't know. And it was just because it was about Para tip transparency at that perfect time.
The day you learned about keywords and titles.
Literally, I think I had, I'm not kidding. I think I had like 25 subscribers.
Oh my gosh.
And got like 1,700 views on that video.
That's crazy.
And it was a long form. It was an hour video.
Yeah.
You do a lot of long form.
So, but so that happened. And then I was still moving with the audio podcast because I still to this day, that's my baby. I love the audio podcast. I know Jason does too. Like I love that. I'm glad, to be honest, if I had started YouTube in May 2020, I'd probably maybe I'd have a bigger channel, but I don't think I'd be where I am. I might have like strayed and followed some of the way that other creators do things. And that might have not made my channel what it is. I think starting audio first made a very slow start for YouTube for me, but it made it so that like, I know all the big channels come and watch me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, maybe I don't have as many subs, but they're all watching what I'm doing. So,
well, what I like about YouTube is the interaction, and I don't get enough of it on our channel. I know a lot of those channels do, and they're just bigger channels. I love that. The audio format is very private and personal, and like that. So we have, you get a certain amount of downloads. That many people are listening. and then you're like, but you don't hear from them. You know what I mean? There's no talking.
I get a lot. But I say my email in every. I say if you agree, disagree, or just want to even shoot your mouth off.
Yeah.
I'm like, email me, and I give my email in every audio episode, and I get a lot of emails.
Really? Oh yeah, we don't ask.
Sometimes I get I get stories even sometimes. I'm like, really? I got to read this?
But what I'm saying is that's why I love YouTube. That's why we live stream. I mean, we could stop the live stream and nothing would really change in our statistics in the audio portion of it. But I just love
because you're way bigger on your audio.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I just love talking to people. Like I love comments. I love having fun with people, even if we're just dicking around, not even talking about gig work. It's just fun. It's fun to me. So
yeah, you were probably the only one that I knew who did live YouTube streams, then moved it to audio. Other people I knew were doing audio. They were either doing just YouTube or they were doing audio and then doing premieres on YouTube.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Like I was always amazed by that. Like, okay, you're doing these live, but then you drop it the next week on a podcast.
Right.
So I was like, that's interesting. And I actually like that way better, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't, like I said, I'm not in the YouTube. Like I literally, if I remember to go back and edit, we talked about the long intros. Right. I actually do go into the videos after I'm done streaming them and I do shorten it. But like, that's the extent of my input into YouTube. Other than that, I don't know what the fuck's going on. So I was just looking at some of our data or some of our information. It's got an old link in there that doesn't even work in our info. I'm like, what is wrong with me? You know what I mean? But that would never happen on our RSS feed. You know what I mean? So anyways, all right, moving on. I know we like to keep these a little bit short, but so the reason you for creating the content is just kind of the pandemic kind of spurred it, right? You just like, I
mean, honestly, you really were a big jumping point for me on that because I had the website going and I wanted to do.
I was gonna say you had Uber Lyft drivers before that, right?
Oh, March 2017 was when that's. I still to this day, just like the audio podcast, that's still my baby too. I post every day on there.
So what was the original idea behind Uber Lyft drivers compared to what made you start then? What made you go into the podcast?
So you guys were doing rideshare then, at March 2017 was right around the end of the Travis Kalanick era.
Okay.
And right before Derek came in and things were getting so, I mean, I was like, this is worse than like World War news. it's like, oh, 59 million people's data was leaked. And did they tell anybody? No, they hired a kid to try and hide it. Oh, we did this. And we were anybody that had a blacked out account. We were making sure cars never showed up to pick you up. And they've just all the different things they still do weird things, but not like then. Then there was just this craziness of like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
And I had been doing it for a while. And if you remember that January to March of 2017 was like the first dramatic drop for like for a non-California rideshare market.
Yeah.
So like Colorado, Michigan, like you probably felt it too. That was like when it really took that first dive on pay. And I was like, okay, this is enough. This news is crazy. The pay's going down. I'm going to start a website on this.
Okay.
And so I think the website ran for about 6 weeks of Travis being CEO. And we didn't even know when the day I started it, we didn't know that Dara was going to be that Travis would be leaving. I thought I was going to be writing for years on this Travis guy. And then 6 weeks later, he was replaced by Dara. And I was like, oh, now things are going to get cleaned up and boring. And they didn't. They stayed crazy. And I was like, okay, I'll keep it going.
Right. Okay. Do you feel it's got a little cleaned up though? They've got a lot of Travis's boys out of there and it's less of a shit show.
Some people won't like this, but I preferred Travis.
Oh, really? Okay. I didn't know enough about him.
Look at, do I like the parts about him that people brought up, like the Susan Fowler and like his way about acting around women in the office? No.
Yeah. No.
But do I like the way that he treated drivers better? Yes. Yeah. Because Travis actually did care about the drivers.
Yeah. We made the most money we did with him in charge. So, he had his mistakes too, but how he dealt with the team on how important the drivers were was a lot different than the corporation running it. Well, now with the Go ahead, Jesper.
I was just going to say, do you think that's why we lost the multiplier?
No, because we had the multiplier. The multiplier, at least
Well-
for me here in Denver, came back. Then they tried flat. Then they went back to multiplier and then flat. And everything's been
I know I mean, as far as I remember back, we didn't go back and forth. We only had the multiplier and then it was gone. So at least here in when I drove. But I was just wondering if you think that it was connected to the fact that Dara took over. And it's kind of that.
Well,
when that
I'm sure
happened,
on some level
went
because
down to
Derek
that
came in
point.
and started price cutting. I mean,
Right.
no pun intended either, because Dara was the CEO of Priceline when he came in.
One of the things that I always hated about cutting the multiplier is it was much more a game for me back when the multiplier was on. There was much more of the what's the word I'm looking for? Like excitement and this whole it was just a trip when you were out at night, and when people hit the street and the bar was closing. It was just, it was just at its best, and it was just fun to kind of wait for that. And we had all this yeah, I remember many a night me and Jason and all the other guys are waiting at the parking lot downtown. We're just waiting for the bars to come out, right? And we were like, okay,
Oh, yeah.
turn off, all the apps off, and
Yep.
we'll wait till 5 after and we turn it back on again. It was like this whole routine we had going on.
So
And ever since they killed the modifier, that multiplier, sorry, then that kind of went downhill.
So I want to be careful with my answer here because I hate the gamification on the apps, but I do agree with you, Jesper. In those days, the gamification was worth it. It's like I would never, once it went to flat surge, I would never ever drive towards a surge. In fact, if I saw a surge on flat surge, I actually would go to where there's no surge because I know that's going to have a lot of people needing rides.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the surge is going to have the overload of everybody driving there. So, but with the multiplier, you could see, and if you knew your market, like yours and like I know mine, we knew like, oh, that's the end of this. That's the highest. That's not worth me going. It's just starting. The event's about to let out. We knew how to read it as, is there enough time to get there and make it work? One thing I used to do, I think you guys even know this, was I used to go up to Summit County and snowboard all day. And I'd throw my board at my friend's house and I'd drive all night in Breckenridge. I'd just go downtown park and I'd wait for it to be 10 times, 11 times surge. So I would do $80 rides for 2 miles going up Ski Hill Road to get back to their $18 million Airbnb.
Right. Nice. Yeah.
So I mean, I would just sit, I was like making $500 a night after snowboarding.
Yeah, those are the good old days, and you do bring up a good point talking about the chasing of the surge. I never thought, I just don't do that anymore. I don't think anyone does. Like it used to be, you would chase the multiplier, but now it's not even worth it. But
no, on a flat surge, it's not worth it. Plus, like, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like sporting events and things like that, like it had to be like, I even had levels. Like I would go to this area for 3+ times, but like if it was a Pepsi Center event, I needed to be 8 times because you had to get in there, find your person. So, I mean, the likelihood of your ride being what you thought it might be was going to be 3 times as long.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Yeah. And now they
get 1, maybe 2 rides.
And now they give you this flat rate of $5, but they lower the regular fare to compensate for that. Like it's not even it went from multiplier to flat rate, which was like, okay, my ride was $10, I get an extra 5, right? Now it's like it should be $10. It's still like $12 now because they've reduced the rate and added some of the flat rate. It's fucking scam. I hate it, and I'm so frustrated. And I got a terrible offer for this weekend, and I have to drive this weekend. I'm pissed. That's my rant.
But see, Jason has his other gigs too. When I met Jason, he was doing. I mean, Jesper, you have another gig too. Both these guys do. So Jason was doing lawn care. So he had another, like in the summer, he almost wasn't, he was barely doing any.
I was almost not driving at all.
In the other.
Yeah.
So, to the full timers, it's different.
Yeah.
To the people doing part-time, it's like, it almost becomes scary because it's almost like, I'm too tired to go out tonight. If you're a part-timer, you could just,
gosh,
I'm not doing it.
Yeah. When you come home or something to eat dinner, and then you're like, I'm going to go back out. Yeah, the fuck you are. You know what I mean? Like
there's been a couple of times where I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning on Friday morning and work my normal job, and then I eat my dinner or whatever, and then I go out and Uber, and then I won't actually get to bed until 5 o'clock. So I mean I know I shouldn't say this, but yeah, I only drive for 12, 10, 12 hours, but I've been off for 24.
Yeah. Jasper's crazy. All right, we're wrapping up here. Steve, what do you got coming on the horizon? Like, I know you got your 300th episode with you got a little lisp there all of a sudden with Sergio. What else you got going on?
So first of all, I see a couple people in my chat, and I see some people I know in here. First of all, subscribe to these guys.
Yeah, I would appreciate that.
Where's their channel name? I don't even know.
I don't even know.
Let me post it in the chat.
Yeah, I don't ever push that. I shouldn't.
Gig Economy Show.
Well, I'm gonna.
Yeah, I know you do.
Subscribe to these guys. Subscribe to this channel. It's the Gig Economy podcast. So
right.
If you're on my channel, come over here. I see some of you are in here, subscribe to these guys.
Yeah, I would appreciate it.
But I do every Wednesday, I do the last mile, which is what I was finishing up with before this, which is just kind of the courier stuff that I talked about.
Yep.
Thursday nights still do the round table. Saturdays, my 13 has blown up. Like that's become like one of the biggest things I do. It gets like 14 to 1700 down or views on YouTube.
Your 13 minutes of news.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's of like the last 3 or 4 weeks. I mean, it used to do like 2 to 350 views.
Yeah, you just
but
never
now
know.
It's like blown up.
You never know.
But I've also gotten a lot better at thumbnails though too. And that is huge. I had a lot of people tell me you got to get into the thumbnail thing. I was like,
Yeah, I know. I hate doing thumbnails. I get in Canva. It takes me like 6 seconds.
But tonight we do have something extremely random going on at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. I have Tremaine Hayho from Hayho Studios. I have Ryan Welty from Welty. I have Tony, the Driven Dad, and I have my son, Max. So we have ages 17 to 51 talking about cancel culture.
Oh, that should be interesting.
It's not a gig-related thing, guys, but come watch it. It's going to be fun. It's like the third one we've done like this. Max and Tony have never been on. It's just been Welty, me, and Tremaine doing this just random thing that we stumbled onto.
Yeah, for sure.
And we did one in March. We did one last month. We're doing one this month, and we're doing one next month. Next month is on AI and the future of work in America.
Okay.
This one is cancel culture. I don't know how this will go. It'll be interesting.
Oh man, you're you're like on the mic. You become like a regular like radio guy. I don't know. It's not radio. Radio's dead, but like you're doing 3 shows tonight. So
well, and then I record on Mondays, and all this is always after I work too. I work every day.
Well, of course.
So it's, I mean, but Mondays I record the podcast that drops every Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
And if it's YouTubers, or if I think it's totally worthwhile and I did it like this video, then I bring it to YouTube, but it's not a weekly thing, and I'll drop it on Tuesday. But
nice.
Sometimes I don't on purpose, because I want people to go to the audio side too.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Yep. I would prefer people download the show, but I'll take what I can get.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. Check out Steve's show, Rideshare Rodeo, anywhere. Just Google that. I mean, He's
all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, when you post so much, like you don't really have to like give a specific website, but I mean, uberliftdrivers.com or Rideshare Rodeo. Just Google that shit. You'll find Steve all over the place.
You can go to ridesharerodeo.com too. It just takes you to uberliftdrivers.com.
Yeah, it's all redirected right to Steve's wallet. So don't let him fool you. Anyways, guys,
because he's making bank with his wife.
If you guys only knew what the real, not you guys, but the other people really knew what we make on these.
Oh shit!
I mean, there's some people who bank,
of course,
but the most of us like.
No.
Just know if you're planning on it, it's a hard road.
Good luck.
There's very few Mr. Beasts out there, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right. Next week, Wednesday, we will not be here. We're taking off for Thanksgiving. We'll be the following week. And guys, thanks so much for listening. Thanks for Steve's peeps that came over. I really appreciate that, and have a good night. This podcast is produced and edited by Hey Guys Media Group. Want to start a podcast? Check out heyguysmediagroup.com.